Just wanted to make a quick video because I've made a fair bit of progress today. This is the front lip, all primed and ready for sanding. A lot of sanding on that today to get it to this point. All hit with a filler primer, and it looks like it's all pretty much smooth. There might be a couple of spots that I have to get with the body filler. You can see there's this little crack that's showing through still. I might have to come in there with something a bit more serious than the filler primer. But at the moment, she's looking good. I've just flipped it over so you can have a better look at it from the front and how it will be on the car. So see, it's a far sight from that chipped, cracked, painted one. And I've also taken one of the rear corners off of the car, and I'm about to start sanding on that. This spot's a bit low here, it need to be filled, and all of this just looks a lot worse than it actually is. There's no cracks in the plastic or anything, so I'm just going to repair it rather than replacing it. It's cold and rainy, so I've moved inside today. I'm just doing a bit more work on the rear bumper. So yeah, I've got the damage mostly sanded out now, and I'm just working. You can see here. There's a factory. There's a line there from the moulding at the factory, and instead of cleaning it up, they just paint straight over it. This is the original bumper. So what I'm doing is just going along and sanding that smooth, as well as fixing up the damage. I'm going to do that on the other side as well. And just because that line on all the VS Commodores and a lot of the other older ones has always annoyed me that they just didn't round that over at the factory before they painted it. So hopefully today I'll get these low spots filled in and sanded, and I might get a coat of primer on there, but it's a bit cold and wet, so. Alright, I've got the right hand bumperette all filled and sanded, ready for primer. For its first coat anyway. Now this lip along here is nice and smooth. The damage is all smoothed out. Alright, I've got the first couple of coats of primer on. It's starting to look much better. You can see all the damage is smoothed in. So I'm going to take a little bit of sanding and some touch-ups, but that'll be that's almost ready for paint now. And then I've taken off the other one, which you can see isn't in nearly as bad as condition. It's got a bit of paint cracking around the top, and on the side here, if you can make that out, there's a little bit of a gouge out of the plastic. And then just want to shave down this body line here like I have with the other side. But overall, much better. Oh, and this is the side the exhaust goes on, so there is a bit of a melted spot there. But I think I'll just leave that, just sand it smooth, rather than filling it, because you don't see that spot, and who knows, it may happen again. So don't really want the exhaust to wreck my nice paintwork. Anyway, I'm going to get started sanding all these damaged bits, and give it a bit of a clean up as well. Been doing a bit more sanding, but the weather seems to be turning, so I don't think I'll be getting too much done. This bumperette's done. Just had its final final sand. Might put another coat of primer on it. I'll see how it goes when I go to paint it. So I'll leave that for the moment. The front lip is pretty much the same. There's just a couple of pinholes sort of around the middle there, just where there was the worst of the scratches. And I've moved on to the passenger side bumper out. So I've been doing some sanding. There are a couple of little pits here. And this is the focus. This is the worst of the damage. So it actually dips in quite a bit here. It doesn't show through from the backside, so it's not cracked or anything. But yeah, it's obviously not smooth. Quite a gouge through there. And there's a bit of crack paint up here. Sanded that all smooth. And then there's another, I'm not even sure how you get that there. It sits on the car like that, and then the tailgates. Oh, let's see if I can. Anyway, it sits on the car like that, and then focus, you bitch. It sits on the car like that, and then the tailgate's in this sort of area here, just so that folds down. So I'm not even sure how you managed to get the damage right in that corner. It should have been blocked by the tailgate, but whatever. There's a little bit of paint chipping here too, so I've just focus. So I've just smoothed that out, and of course gone along the edge and smoothed out that little plastic lip that's so annoying. So now I'm just giving it a wipe over with some prep soils and wax and grease remover, and gonna mix up some body filler and fill in this spot, and then that'll probably be it for the day because that sky's not looking too good. I finished filling and sanding the passenger side, given it its first coat of primer, well, its first spray of primer, and I'm just going over the driver's side again just to make sure it's nice and smooth. And I think this one's ready for wet sanding pretty much. The new rail is on, yay! I did have to modify it a little bit. This support bracket on this side was welded over a bit too much, so it was just fouling on the frame rail, so I had to grind that back. It's just on there loose for the moment. Just gonna whip it off and clean up all under here where it mates up to the car, and on the other side as well. Just a little bit of finishing touches, and just gonna paint over that bit just there that I grinded away. Focus, just there. Well, the Rio's all fitted up and painted. Decided to pull her out so I can test fit the bumper, and so I can get some of that sanding dust off. Gone ahead, sprayed my horn black, and on the start of the painting on the front black as well. And in there, I'm just going to fix a bit of damage there. It's just not enough room to swing a cat in the shed, so out she is. I'll walk around. There's a tailgate damage I've mentioned I need to fix. I really need to realign the Rio and adjust the bar a bit, but she's on there. It's just cable tied at the moment. It's just so nice to see her looking like a car again. Even if it is the wrong colour. It doesn't look too bad though. And you could probably get away with driving around like that if you really wanted to. Having a little go at the tailgate while I've got it out. The area is a bit too much for a suction cup or anything like that, and I don't have a welder handy. So I've gone a little bit unorthodox because these are pretty cheap to pick up. So if I stuff it up, it doesn't really matter too much. I've drilled a little hole in the center there, and what I'm going to do is run a screw into it, a tech screw, and ride that on the slide hammer because there's no way to actually get behind it. Alright, I've got that bolted in, or screwed in rather. And I've got the slide hammer attached. Just going to add on the handle and the actual hammer itself and hopefully not tear this thread out. Well, I got a bit carried away, but I've actually made somewhat of a difference. If you look down the panel, it barely pops in anymore. And it looks like I'm going to be able to get that line and that line pretty straight. So I might actually be able to get this to a point that I can just fill the damage rather than replace this whole panel. Which usually repairing it it'd be cheaper to replace it, but since I have the skills and a shit ton of time, beautiful. Well, I suppose with that I'll wrap it. Go move her into the shed. Go get some food.